Hey trendsetters and discoverers of all things beautiful, welcome to my channel. Today's video is all about eyes. I've done several videos on smoky eyes, but today I want to focus on what you should never do when creating your most gorgeous eye look. Stick with me and we'll learn all about common smoky eye mistakes. Before we get started, head on down to the comments section and click like. Or, if you never want to miss an episode, click on subscribe. Look, today I have some amazing techniques to show you. Before we get to that, I want to clear the air, darlings. For those of you who have been following my channel for some time, I know you weren't expecting me, probably ever again. After that last video, I told you all goodbye. What a shitty thing to do to you. That wasn't fair. How I left things wasn't fair to you. But I'm here again, and thankfully, there is no more need to worry about me. I've sorted everything out. Now let's get started on those eyes, dolls. Okay, if you've watched me before, then you know the first step is always to prep. Not just the face. You've got to prep the space, my loves. Get out all of the essential tools you'll need so you're not searching for them later. For today, that means a light color and a darker shadow, a small, thin brush for applying product, and a dry, bushier brush for blending like this. Okay, now that we have the space set up, we can prep the face. I will be using some moisturizer like this as a primer for the skin. That feels so lovely. Be sure to get the entire work area. Look, I left abruptly, I know. I told you all that I was leaving the States, heading down to Peru. I think I said that Peru was calling my soul home. I know how that probably sounded, but it really did feel like that, like I was being commanded home. After making tutorial after tutorial, year after year, I guess I just didn't know what the point was. What was it all for? You may recall, the plan was to sell my possessions and drive from here to Peru on the Pan American Highway. And I did, mostly. I had been feeling off for a while, distracted and hazy in the pandemic. I went downstairs to cut my hair one night, and I spent 3 hours throwing out old prescriptions instead. I sat on the bathroom floor with a trash can full of prescriptions, feeling broken and small. Making these videos, and please don't take this the wrong way, making these videos was depressing me. I mean, I know I can't do this forever. I'm not young. What happens to makeup tutorial YouTubers when they get old? There's an entire generation of us about to fall off that cliff. What will we do? Do I have to get married and have kids? Or work in a department store? I don't know what's worse. Selling J.Lo beauty line cosmetics to my younger replacements, or settling down like a square. It's not for me. Neither option is for me. Listen to me babbling on like a real cunt. I need to remember sometimes it's not about me. You're here to learn about eyes. This is about you, your eyes. Okay, I've applied a primer to my eyelids and surrounding area. The first common mistake made by people doing smoky eyes is wrongly applying product too high on the eyelid and then trying to blend up from there. If you apply the product too high to begin, you end up with a very harsh line, which is frankly yucky. It ends up looking like a whore or a mime or a funeral clown's makeup, which is not the look we're going for. Let's start by applying a firm, thin line of product directly in the crease of our eye. See? Just like this. I don't mean to keep making this about me, but I never really finished my story. Why am I here again? Well, I drove all the way down the Pan American Highway. I mean, I made it literally to Panama. And then I discovered the Darien Gap, El Tapón de Darien. I didn't know the highway didn't go through to South America. I mean, how would I have known that? The Darien Gap, in case you haven't heard of it either, is 100 miles of jungle. 100 miles of menace and misery. They gave up making the highway and just decided this patch of tangle was untamable. The highway continues on the other 100 miles of jungle, but travelers like me have no way of driving through. I was in Yuvisa, where the highway stops. I was livid, sitting in my car and feeling foolish. And how had I not heard about the Gap before coming all this way? Had I wasted weeks of my life? I mean, I had no idea what to do. And a man from town came up to me. Obviously wasn't a local. He knew why this gringo was there. In broken English, he offered to guide me through the bush on foot, past the Rio Muerto, past the snakes, past the jaguars. Well, I accepted his offer. We decided to meet at the fruit stall at dawn. He accepted $500 from me. That night, as I slept in my car, I had a dream. A vision, really. A small, native Embera girl visited me. An indigenous Panamanian child came to see me, of all people. In my dream, I woke up in my car with this girl sitting on the hood, just staring at me through the caked windshield. We stared at each other for a very long time, and after some time she moved, but slowly. She put both of her hands up to her face like this, muttering something I couldn't hear and wouldn't have understood. Standing, she turned, pointing toward the Gap. And as she stood, I saw her legs were bloodied and stained. I looked toward the dense jungle, and I saw it part like a curtain. And just like the Red Sea, like I'd always pictured it as Moses spread his arms wide. And from the Gap, a small, colorful bird flew out. And next came a procession of men looking determined but tired. And the procession of men grew and grew, and there were Indians, Iranians, men of the world, one after another, marching from the void past my car and towards Yuvisa, towards the north. And a small, colorful bird landed on the hood of my car, and as it opened its beak, a thunderous cacophony erupted from within. I heard a wah, wah, wah noise, and my head throbbed. I woke up. It was at least noon. I mean, long past dawn, and my guide was nowhere to be found. My $500 was nowhere to be found. My money was lost, swallowed by the jungle, decaying. And then I realized that this wasn't right. It started with really good intentions. Everyone realizes at some point that they can do better. I thought my doing better was in Peru. Turns out it wasn't. I turned around and came back home. And that's why I'm here again. Unexpectedly here again. Surprise! Which is fantastic when you think about it. I mean, you need help with your eyes, and I need to not be there decaying in the Gap. Jeez. Why am I telling you all of this? None of this shit matters now. What matters is looking and feeling fabulous. Am I right? Okay. The last secret I want to share with you to avoid smoky eye mistakes is using a small firm brush to apply product in the crease of the eye. You have to apply it directly in the crease, apply pressure, and only apply it in the crease of the eye. Little girl. Okay. Now use your second brush. You want a clean, product-free brush. The only purpose of this brush is to blend. This brush is so large that I don't really need to drag the product upward. I just move the brush over the product line I replaced, and the product moves up the brow as high as we want it to go. Yes, I still think about her often. La niña y su pájaro. Well, that's all for this episode. I hope you learned a lot and can use what you learned in your own life. And hopefully you're happy to see me again. I'm sorry I left you, and I hope you'll forgive me for my lapse. Here I am, an old woman praying for absolution from her sins, hoping you'll stay with me and subscribe with your beautiful, smoky eyes. Ta-ta, trendsetters.